All right, so this is Matthew Bailey, and in this newest episode of BBB Radio Interviews, I'll be talking with the second half. Sorry, talking to the second half of the Soul Powers. That would be the one and only Shy The BeatYoda, representing Ontario.
Yes, yes.
Right,
Pickering
right,
in the
right.
building.
Yes, yes, yes. And also half of the rap duo Guillotine Shark. And I want to say rap duo because yes, it's a rap duo, not so much a soul R&B duo like the Soul Powers is, right?
Correct.
Right. So in the previous episode, which I did, heaven knows when, right? I spoke to E Smitty. He is the wordsmith. He's the guy who just delivers all these gorgeous vocals off of, the Soul Powers debut album, the beginning of, which by the way was my top favorite album of 2021. And I'm still stoked to this day that the moment I actually like put out that list right on my YouTube channel, he actually reached out to me. Like he literally called me from Atlanta, thanking me. I was just in amusement by this. Like, oh my God, like an American artist is actually reaching out to me, right? So, this just came with some ideas like, I actually really need to reach out to the artists themselves that I cover through my Fiverr gig, which by the way is ridiculously successful. I've been doing this for 2 years now. I still to this day I'm just in shock as to how successful it is, right? But really for me, why I love it so much is that I get to meet, guys like you know what I mean, who are doing what they love musically, right? They put passion, they put everything into their music as well too. It's not about the billboard and charts and all that kind of stuff. It's just about pure music, right? That's it. And I get that through your music in particular, especially with what you brought to the table with the beginning of, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the feeling is mutual, man. Like meeting brothers like you, like who truly understand what it is that we were trying to do. Like we, without even having being interviewed by you, listening to your review and your assessment of things was so spot on. It was almost like you were in the studio with us, watching us and documenting the process. I was like, yo, this cat really, really gets it. Like he gets what we were trying to do, like everything. The way you broke down the songs in your reviews, like man, of course we had to reach out to you, man. We had to.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm still like amazed as well too that you were amazed at how I picked up on that one song, for Soul for You, for example, that one song that you used from Do the Right Thing. And he
Yeah,
actually told me
yeah.
that was it's your favorite movie like ever, right?
Of
Of all
all
time.
time, of all
Nice.
time,
Yeah, yeah.
hands down.
Yeah, yeah. Just how you were amused at me picking up on that too was like, wow, like I'm doing it. I've done it. You know what I mean? I just love that, right? So
Yeah, man.
enough fanboying here. You could just let the world know who you are. Just basically with this episode here, we're not just gonna talk about the beginning of, because we already did that with E, right? He sort of broke things on, well, what went down vocally, right? But I would like to hear, your process in terms of just coming up with the beats and, just how you guys kind of worked out the idea and concept of that album, right? And afterwards, we'll talk about, that debut project, me with you and Zeppo, a fellow, Canadian rapper called, this group that you guys call Guillotine Shark. You really need to explain to me that concept. I feel like I have an idea what it stand like, how it came about, but I just want to hear from you. And we'll just do like a track by track review of that album. That would be Merky Waters. I haven't really reviewed it on my blog or my YouTube channel. I actually like just listened to it yesterday actually. So I'll just be sharing my quick thoughts on that album as well, right? So I'm gonna
Amazing.
shut up now. Shy The BeatYoda, just let the world know who you are and just basically how you got into this.
Oh man, I'm a little too old for basically how I got into this. Is like that's a long story, man. I turned 44 in like 2 weeks, bro.
Oh
Like
wow, okay, okay.
yeah, word up. Well, I mean, I'm Shy the BeatYoda. I've been going by that moniker for since around 2016. I used to go by Shiloh or Shiloh the Magnus, short for Magnificent, as a nod to Special Ed and
Yes,
the
yes.
Magnificent Jazzy Jeff.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I mean, I've been rhyming since 9, DJing since
Wow.
12.
Huh.
I started producing or making beats rather in like '95. Um, Started getting pretty serious about rapping in and around that time. We released. I released my first project was released with my crew, the Bomb Shelter Association, in 1998. At that time, that was before all the internet, before streaming sites, before like this is like before everything. We were one of the first groups to take their album and leak it on the internet instead of trying to press it to a tape and all that.
Mm.
One of the guys in our crew was really big on in the chat rooms and being in the chat rooms and trying to figure out we looked at him and like he's the internet guru. His name is Fear, and he was the one who threw the tape on the internet, and it spread like wildfire to the point where like we were getting noticed by guys like Chuck D from Public Enemy, Company Flow.
Nice.
It was a big deal for us, us Canadians,
Mhm.
like wow, we're getting all this attention on the internet. There was an article in Elemental magazine where Chuck D rated my song on that compilation as the number one top download for the year 2000, which I mean,
Yeah,
my mind
mind
my
blown,
mind
right?
was just
Yeah.
yeah, I was like we couldn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. And from that point on it was just kind of like, well, that's a sign, we're on the right path. We need to stick to our guns and stay true and keep working on this. In 99, 2000, I went to school for production in Toronto, Harris Institute for the Arts, and yeah, for production and engineering, and that's where I met Marco Polo.
Oh, right.
Underground New York producer.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's a Canadian, originally from Richmond Hill. We met there, became instant friends. He used his tuition money to buy his first MPC 2000 XL. He had no production experience at the time. I knew how to use the MPC through my friend at the time, Arithmetic, and I showed Marco. I gave him my drum discs. I showed him how to work the machine. We grabbed some records of his pops. I showed him how to chop them up, and yeah, from there things took off. I've been a part of every project that he's ever done since the beginning of his career. So if you look on the back, you're guaranteed to see executive produced by Shiloh. Like I started doing more scratches on his projects later in the later years, like Port Authority 2, the Hannibal Stax album. I did lots of stuff on his and Master Ace's album that came out a couple years ago called A Brooklyn Story. We're
Oh
actually
yeah, I know
working,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, we're actually working on the sequel to that right now.
Okay.
It's gonna
Okay.
yeah that's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. But through Marco and through working with him, I've had the pleasure of working with some of the biggest names in hip hop that you could think of. Like I got to do scratches on tracks for Big Daddy Kane and DOS Effects, Artifacts, MOP. Like the I'm blessed.
It's a long list. It's a
I'm
long list.
blessed. And
Mm.
obviously, one of the biggest things was Marco making my bucket list dream come true and connecting me with DJ Premier to work with him.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we released a song in 2015, my group project First Division. We released a song called "This Is the Time," and follow and after that, like me and Preem just became like we spent a good five 5 6 years just talking on like Google chat
Mhm.
video and just building a rapport and a relationship. And now we're like yo man, we call each other and talk about each other's kids and just like regular life stuff now, you know what I mean? Like that's the homie, like.
Right.
And that to me is like the biggest takeaway from all of this, like the
Mm.
music is great, but like I gotta, like Preem's my friend, like that's big bro, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and that's probably like the greatest, I would say the greatest accomplishment for me of all.
Right. While you were talking about this, I had this dumb smile on my face. I actually listened to that First Division album.
A word.
I did. Okay, so this little backstory. There was a hip hop show that was on. Okay, so I'm from Trinidad for those who see me for the first time, right?
I'm
And
half Trini, by the way.
what?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, okay,
My
okay,
pop
okay.
on my from my pop side. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, salute, man.
There it
Yeah.
is.
So there was okay. So there was this hip hop show that used to air on Saturday nights. In retrospect, I don't think Saturday nights were the right time. Saturday nights at 8:30. I mean, if you're not home, just scratching doing nothing, then you're probably out doing whatever, right? And
Right.
yeah, I saw this one video from this group called First Division, and I believe it was a DJ Premier produced track, and it just caught me by surprise. And I sought that album out afterwards, I should say, right? And yeah, that was how I was introduced to that group, but I didn't know you were a part of that. So holy
Yeah,
shit, right?
if you go back and you watch that video, I'm the first dude rapping. I have like 95% less gray hairs in my beard, and it's amazing how fast those things sprouted out of my face after that record, man.
Wow.
But yeah, it took 3 years to put that album together, man. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into it, and that's a whole other story. But we got to work with a lot of legendary figures during that time, man. Like it was yeah, it was a crazy time, man. It brought me to where I'm at right now because shortly after that album, after spending 3 years to for things to go the way that they went, if I'm being completely honest, like I didn't want to rap anymore, man. Like after that, I was just exhausted. I was like, I don't have the desire to pick up the pen, like, but I want to do something, like
Right.
I do so many things that it's like, okay, well, you know what, like what, okay, if it's not that, then what do I do? Do I go back and start making mixtapes? Do I get back on the turntables, blah, blah, blah. And my homie Beatwise, who produced a good chunk of the First Division album, introduced me to the MPC software. And I was so blown away by how easy it was to use. It was almost like an extension of me. Like it was like if I was to build a piece of software, this is how I would do it.
Right.
And like I could like bro, I don't even need to think when I'm making beats. I just if there's something I want to create, boom, 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 I just do it. Like I don't need the hardware or nothing. I'm clicking on it. People are always amazed how I write bass lines with a mouse, just clicking. I don't even need to look at it. Like it's just it was amazing, man. So that was around 2016. I went and I bought the MPC studio. I mastered the software. I changed my name to Shy The BeatYoda. There's a clip floating around. Like if you go onto my Instagram, you'll see a clip of me in the studio at Sirius Satellite Studio with Preem and Marco, and you actually hear yeah, Preem asked me, he's like, so why don't you make beats? And then I told him the story of, like I showed Marco how to use the MPC. And when he got really good at making beats, I just fell back and said, yo, I'm just going to rhyme. And then Marco said, yo, this guy right here, that's my Beat Yoda. And that
Okay.
name just was like, he'd always called me Yoda. But when he said, this guy is my Beat Yoda, I was like, oh, that's dope. That's dope. And
Yeah.
that stuck with me. So when I decided, okay, you know what, producing is what I'm gonna sink my teeth into, I shortened my name from Shiloh to Shy, added the Beat Yoda, and there it is. That's how, that's where I'm at with it now.
All right, all right. I love that you just stuck within that genre of music. It's not like you just abandoned it altogether.
Yeah, I mean, like this hip hop thing is, it's what I know, it's who I am, man. So I can't front and try to do some other shit just because it's like it's what's popular or whatever. I got to do what's in my heart. Like that's why when you hear Soul Powers, you still hear me injecting that hip hop flavor into it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's not too far removed from what I already do. It's just the sample choices and the rhythms are a little bit more soulful, and you get E Smitty in there, putting his sauce all over it, doing what he does. Like I mean, that guy just makes it easy. He just makes it easy.
Yeah, I know,
You know what I
right?
mean? He just makes it
Yeah,
easy. I don't
he
gotta worry
does.
about it. Just give him the heat, let him do his thing, and it's gonna rock. Like I just know it.
Right. So before I get to E Smitty and Soap Powers, right? What he brought up there with you still have that hip hop vibe in that Soap Powers album. That's what clicked with me with that, right? picked up on, DJ Premier. You know what I mean? That's why I brought up in my review, Gangsta, Step in the Arena, that sort of relationship between you and the artist. And then the interludes themselves has a feel of, Pete Rock's work on, Mechanist Soul Power. Oh, no, Mechanist Soul Brother. Oops, my mistake. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, and that just clicked with me because yeah, I'm a huge fan of old school hip hop as well too, and I just love sampling as well too, especially just knowing the right samples to use and how to work them into the song itself.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like I said, it's not that far removed from what I already do. It was on my bucket list to do an R&B project. When I started getting really heavy into producing, I'm like, yo, man, I want to find a dope singer, and I want to put together a really dope R&B record in the same vein of like Mary J. Blige. What's the 411? With the way
Ah.
that she injected hip hop, you know what I mean? Because like
Mm-hmm.
if you remember on like her My Life album, she had those. She had like Keith Murray came in.
Yes.
That was the first time we ever heard the "Who Shot You" beat that Biggie wound up using. Right, it was Keith Murray doing his. Was it "Catch This Bubonic Plague in Your Head, Back, Chest,
Yeah.
Arms, and Legs"? Like her putting those hip hop skits in between the songs was like I'd never heard hip hop blended with R&B in that way, and no one really does that anymore. And people barely incorporate scratches into their hip hop songs anymore. So I'm like, yo, not only am I going to bring back scratching, or not even bring it back, just make sure that scratching is an emphasis in all the music that I do. I want to
Yes.
make sure that that's a very much an element that's included in the Soul Powers thing, because I never really heard nobody do it like that.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
like
Right.
on Jazzy Jeff's album when he did the Magnificent album, like because he had like Kev Brown produced the majority of it, and
Mm-hmm.
there was Jeff is scratching all over the R&B joints, and I'm like, yo, this is the kind of like this is what I'm talking about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. Right. So you and E Smitty, how did that happen? Especially with the fact with you being from Canada and him being from, the United States, basically. Like, how did that happen, and how did that album spring out of that?
Well, that all happened through Zepp. My shout outs to my homie Fruition. He's a producer from Ajax, Ontario, like a 15-minute drive from me. We met some years ago during the first division era through Instagram, and he came over one time to vibe and was like, "Yo, have you ever heard this guy Zeppo?" I'm like, "Huh? Oh, what?" He's like, "Yo, you watch this," and he showed me a video. I was just like, "Yo, who is this kid, man? This dude can rap. Like, he can really rap." He's like, "Yo, man, he lives right around the corner from you. He lives right by the mall, just down the street." I'm like, "You gotta be
Wow.
joking." So I hit him up on Instagram. I was like, "Yo, like, we got to get up, man. We got to do something." And then, he came over to the crib. I played beats for him. And, from that point on, it was just like, yo, we're doing music together. And I would say maybe half a year to a year into working on some material, there was a song that we were working on, produced by my homie Beatwise. It was called Illa Kids, which I wound up remixing for Zepp's first project, Strange Days. But the original version was produced by Beatwise, and Zepp was like, "Yo, man, I want to get my homie E Smitty rapping on this. Do you mind?" I'm like, I trust you, man. Like you're skilled, skill. So, if you're vouching for this dude, cool. So he got the vocals from Smitty, and there were some issues with it. So then I wound up having to contact him and be like, yo, I need you to send me the proper files, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, we're doing these Guillotine 16 videos, a little series of like 1 minute, one verse videos and stuff. And we did one video called Thin Line. And
Mm.
Smitty hit me up and he was like, yo, that beat is crazy. I want to rap on that. Can you send me the instrumentals? Yeah, sure. Why not? So I fired off the instrumental to him. He wrote his verse. He recorded it. He sent it back. He's like, you can use that for whatever. Oh, and by the way, I sing too if you guys ever need a hook on anything. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Zepp mentioned something to me about you singing, whatever, whatever. He's like, yo, here's my SoundCloud. I listen, yo.
Mm.
I
I
sat
know.
and my jaw dropped to the floor. Like everybody's all casually talking about, oh yeah, I got a hook guy. You need a hook. Like this guy, like I was I was rocked. Just my brain was rocked. I'm like, yo, are you joking? Like, I'm sending you beats. I have a beat sitting here that Marco told he loves so much that he's like, yo, you need to stash that for a special occasion. Now you can't just give that to anybody. So I was like, yo, take this and do your thing with it. And he sent it back, and it was a song called "No More." We have yet to release it, but
Right.
it was like him doing like he did like an 8 bar verse, and then he sings, and then he does another 8 bar at the end, or it might even be a 16 at the end. Very much like a Reflection Eternal type track, has a high tech vibe.
Right.
Um, and yeah, from that point on, it was just like, yo, we got to do more work. You know, like I don't know if we figured out soul powers right off the bat. It was kind of just like we were cutting tracks and just and the music was just coming easily. I was just hitting him with like anything that I had in the stash. So it was like, yo, here's like 6 tracks that are all like soul vibes that like none of my like hardcore dudes want to fuck with on the mic.
Hmm.
And he just started like just firing off songs one after the other, and we built this little catalog. And before you know it, like, we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Right. Hmm.
um you know uh Black Lives Matter is the movement.
Yep.
So much craziness is going on all at once, and it was like, we have to do something. Like, at that point, we knew we were the soul powers, because we looked at the body of music and we were like, we're thinking of names, and there was just something about that was just like, when we were brainstorming what we were going to call ourselves, there was something about that was just like, yo, man, we're like R&B hip hop superheroes here to save the
Yes.
day. We're just, it's not just about like, we're the soul powers. We have soul power. We use our soul powers for the good of the people. Just all that kind of banter, like, yeah, 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 just getting really excited behind the name. But like when everything started to happen, it was like, we felt that kind of responsibility to be the public enemy.
Hmm.
Like we need to put out like a PE R&B record that speak we like people need healing right now. People need motivational music. They need healing music. They need something to help them get through all of this. Like
Yeah.
we need it ourselves, and no one's giving it to us. Like, I don't see anybody doing anything. Like, we come from an era where, the stop the violence movement in hip hop like
Yep.
existed,
From
and we
the
had
late
like
80s.
songs
Yeah.
like heal yourself and self-destruction, and
Hmm.
like all in the same gang. Like, I remember like when catastrophic things would happen, the hip hop community came together and made incredible music to
Right.
help us get through these terrible times, and no one was doing anything. So we just looked through our catalog and we were like, that, 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 that. Okay, those songs. That's the album.
Yeah.
Let's just
Just to stop for a bit. It just like legit hit me. I think the last time that I saw, like a opportunity where like a bunch of artists came together for a common cause, I think was right around like I probably it happened years afterwards, but I always remembered 9/11, right? When they did that Marvin Gaye cover, What's Going On. Alicia
Yep.
Keys was in it. Fred Durst was on it. It was just like a bunch of artists were there just doing their thing. I think that was like the last time that I really saw like a major song, you know what I mean? Like help, meant to lift people up basically.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a modern day "We Are the World" type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just as corny.
I know, right?
Um,
Yes.
Yeah,
In
dude, straight
retrospect, it's
hey,
kind of
straight
corny.
up, man. You know what I mean? For me, give me another Self Destruction, because that song today is still a banger. Like,
No, it
man, you know what
is.
I'm
It
saying?
is. Yeah, they're
Come
just that
on,
hook,
man.
that self-destruction. And if it's
Oh,
self-destruction, I mean, yeah.
every verse, like from KRS starting it out to Chuck D ending it off, MC Light, Big Daddy Kane, Stetsasonic, like, oh, come on, man. That is the song, man. When people talk about like posse cuts, there's the scenarios of the world, but like, for me, Self Destruction is tops. That song is
Yeah, yeah.
amazing.
And it's a
So
good thing that you brought up Chuck D as well too, because particularly that outro on that Soap Powers album, so, State of Emergency, which as I told E when I listened to it before I did like my year in review, um it just hit me in a particular way. But like listening before while I did a review, it did hit me, but just that one last time again, boy, I felt them. I felt my eyes just get watery.
My man,
You know,
my
and
man.
that's even before you hear soul. Like people unite, let's all get down. It's everything else that goes on, like building up. There's just that build up duo and just those vocals in the background, and of course the skits that you use throughout it as well, especially that John Boyega one. Yeah, it hit me.
Yeah, I
It hit
mean,
me.
like
Yeah.
when after the passing of George Floyd, that was the first time that I got put on to Tamika Mallory was during those press conferences, and just hearing her speak, just really there was just something about it that was like, man, I got to use this clip somehow. And when I put that together, the John Boyega, I had to use that. The Michael Che, they were just, I don't know, they were all speeches and segments that really kind of like hit home for me with the whole thing. So I was like, you know what, let's do something different, man. Let me whip something together. And I used Smitty's harmonies in the background. I don't know if you know this. If you listen closely, you'll be able to tell that the samples in the beat are the same samples from All Makes Sense.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, you got
I
to
yeah.
listen carefully. So like
Mm-hmm.
if you like on the at the end of All Makes Sense, there's a horn part that comes in.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to
That burn
that and then
burn right.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Oh, I see you. I see you.
yeah, it's the same horn, just chopped in half and looped on the like in half.
That
But
is awesome.
yeah. So yeah. Well, you're gonna hear a different version of that song soon.
Right, right. So just last question, then we'll move on to Guillotine Shark, right? Uh, well, me, myself and E actually mentioned that a second Soul Powers album is on its way. So just want to hear from you. What can fans and listeners expect with this sequel?
It's gonna be called Soul Powers: The Remix of, and
Ooh,
it's yeah, it's a top to bottom revamp of the whole album. Every song remixed in a way that's like, okay, we're not going to try to give you that again. We're going to give you this instead. Because it's like, okay, take like an All Makes Sense, for instance. Like that song has such an emotional gut punch to it. It's
it
like, well,
does, yeah.
you're not gonna do that better than that. Than it already. It's lightning in a bottle. That song exists. It's special for what it is. So instead of trying to recapture that magic, take it in a different direction. Give you something different. So it's hard to describe. There's certain songs that's like, okay, well that has like a lot of emotional weight. Now we're gonna make you bop to it. You know what I mean? It's
Right,
like you
right.
know the song, you know the lyrics. Now sing along and
Mm-hmm.
nod your head to it.
Yeah,
So it's like it's still gonna make you feel a certain way, but it's gonna be different. So
right.
we tried like I tried my best to steer not in like I'm gonna do trap remixes or anything like that. No, it's still
God.
it's even it might be even more hip hop,
Mm,
especially since we've got all members of the Rebel Embassy crew. We're all part of a 6-man crew. It's me, Smitty, Details, Zeppo, Ninth Uno, and G Knight. We've
right.
actually got a project that's going to be coming. Hopefully, in a couple months, we're going to be dropping, and it's Smitty rapping all over the album, but also
Nice.
singing
Oh,
hooks
and
too.
singing, of course. Mhm.
Yeah. It's a crazy record. But the Soul Powers remix album features a verse from every member of the crew except me, because I'm already doing everything else. I'm like, you don't need me to do nothing. But we
not,
got
not,
we
not,
got
not
Zepp
even
on
a
there.
little more rapping.
Yeah, it was like, come on, man, y'all already know, you get it. Um, but yeah, like that, it's a special project, and it's gonna serve as the warm up, the official. It's kind of like a warm up to our official sophomore album, which will be titled So What Now, and it's basically like, okay, well, you got the beginning of and all the madness that happened there, and now we're coming out of it.
So
So
what
what
now?
now,
Yeah, makes total
right?
sense there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna just leave it at that. We'll do another interview maybe before we drop it, we're gonna
Sure.
make sure that you get the exclusive first
Thank you.
copy
Thank you.
before that goes out to anywhere. I promise you that. Same with the remix album, you'll get that before anybody else gets it. And yeah, yeah,
All right. All right.
coming
So
soon.
yeah. All right. So if I just have one last question to ask before we get to the Guillotine Shark stuff, don't worry, we will. Um, if you just want to just touch quickly on your Twitch channel, right? You know what you're doing right now, basically with this the Morning Brew show. Um, I've been enjoying it thus far though. Like I work usually like in the mornings, right? So usually I just have to just find the time to sit down and just watch recaps and whatnot, right? But I mean, this is not, I mean, just in fairness, I mean, it's not, the most original idea out there, but I do love that you of all people are doing it, even though that you still have the music stuff, your family stuff, you're still carving that little, space of time, basically Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays to do this, right? And it's awesome. I also love the fact that it's about mostly about old school hip hop, well, 90s hip hop. For me, that is the best era, best decade of hip hop, bar none. I'm sorry, I'm old, but I just love that era for me, right? That was when
Hey,
I really got,
there's no argument there. It is the
yeah.
best era. I dare anybody to challenge me on that.
I know there was just
We'll
so
have a very
much.
lengthy and heated discussion about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I had wanted to do something. I wanted to carve out a space that was a little different, so that's why I decided to go with like a morning show, like early, for the morning commute. So that, I know, like, people in the morning, it's like you might want to like listen to some music, but it's like you're busy, you're trying to have your breakfast, you're trying to shower, get dressed, get ready to go.
Mhm.
You don't want to be fumbling with your phone trying to find this and that. It's like, yo, if I can establish trust with the viewer and the listener, then y'all know, just like at 8:15, just tune into me, man. I got you for 2 hours. I'll play you the
Yeah.
music that you need to get you up and going, give you that energy on a Monday to start off your week, that motivation on a Wednesday to get through the rest of the week. And on Friday, we celebrate that we made it to the end of the week. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Yeah.
And we also got an evening show. I don't know if you're aware, like, we're in our third week now of doing this will be our fourth show this week.
Okay.
We do a show on Thursday nights at 10 p.m. Called The Nightcap.
All right. All right.
You might want to check that out, man. It's a
I
fun
will.
one.
Yeah.
It's a fun show.
Similar, same music, right? Or is it like
It,
more
it
laid back cuts or whatever?
it's all over the place, man. We cover new stuff, like, like, Chez Noir, Griselda, that kind of stuff. Still in the same vein, still, still raw hip hop. There's definitely a lot of 90s stuff. We do these polls. We do one called OG versus remix, where we literally pick, like, like, pick a song that, like, where the remix is just, how do you decide between the two, and then we let everybody who's listening vote in, and we read back the polls to see what won.
Right.
We do who flipped it better. We pick two songs that use the same sample, and we run those. So there's all kinds of fun interactive things that we do throughout the show. And yeah, when we play all kinds of crazy music, man. The majority of it, I would say, is definitely 90s based. But if we
Right.
go into the 2000s, then you're going to hear a lot of Pete Rock, a lot of Kev Brown, Madlib, Jay Dilla. Like I said, it's still in the same vein. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, certainly. I'm gonna make a note to check that out, right? But I do love that idea, by the way, right? So
You'll
at
love.
long, yeah, so at long last, we will jump into Guillotine Shark, right? And you could just talk about, just how that group, that duo actually came to be, right? But I just want to make one point as far as just that name itself, Guillotine Shark. I suspect, I could be wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong. You could call me an idiot, whatever. I believe those are Wu-Tang references, right? Guillotine
You
Shark
know what?
or something like
To
that.
be honest with you, I don't. We were in the studio. It was me, Zepp, and my homie Ken, and we were working on some stuff out of his studio. And I like, honestly, man, I don't even remember, like, how it was, like, some zany conversation about, like, somebody. I think somebody might have said something that Ken thought sounded like, what's a guillotine shark? And we were all like, guillotine shark. That sounds like a dope name. And it literally happened, like, I don't remember how the words got blurted out, but then from that point it was like, yeah, like a shark, when his teeth are guillotines, he's like extra sharp. It's like, it just sounded like the craziest thing. But to me, I was so for it because I was like, yo, the initials are GS. You know who else is GS? Gangstar.
Yep. Ta-da.
Guillotine Shark it is. Yes. So yeah, it wasn't anything where we were like purposefully sitting down and trying to think of it. It was just kind of like it just happened in a moment where somebody said something, another guy was like, Guillotine Shark. No, nobody said that. But that sounds like a dope name, right? Yeah, we'll take it.
Hmm. But it just reminds me a lot of other rap duos over the past few decades, like Mad Villain, right? Or quite recently Zarfies, right? Where they just have this weird name, but there's something about the name that just sticks with you. And then when you like actually dive into the music, it's like, oh, okay, I could see why it's called that, right? And this is why in particular I just love the skits that you use here, which is very Zarfies as well too. You know, like if you, well, I mean, of course, you listen to the albums, right? Every hero needs a villain. It's my favorite out of all of those. And they always have like these sort of like weird comic book esque kind of like interludes, basically. So it's picking that up in this record here with it sounds like two sharks talking. It's like, oh yeah, like yeah, I love when titties and hands are flying about, man. Yeah, I love that shit, man. Yeah, just
There was
that
so
stuff
much
just
on
had me
the
cracking. I
there
love
was
it. I
so
love it.
many there's so much stuff on the cutting room floor when we were doing that because we just literally sat with a mic and just started saying some of the most outlandish shit ever and yeah, and then I just chopped it up. I was like we were dying laughing the whole time. Like 80% of the reel is me cracking up because I couldn't handle it. Zepp kept saying just the craziest things. Oh man, that was fun, man. That was fun. Yeah, we wanted to do, instead of picking a whole bunch of movie clips and stuff, we wanted to do something, bring it back to like the Prince Paul era of like the De La Soul is Dead era of doing
Oh
your
yeah,
own skits and
love that
stuff. You know
album
what
by
I
the way.
mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, we put that together and yeah, man, like it wasn't, a lot of those songs were songs that we started recording at the beginning stages of us working together. And, we were like, you know what, it's time, man. It's time to liberate this material. Let's put it together. Let's put together the ultimate body of work. We recorded a few new songs just to round things out.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, man, I'm extremely proud of that record. Like, I'm really proud of it. Like, it's fun. It's high energy, lyrics, cuts, beats, like everything that you could want from like a traditional hip hop record. I feel like we checked all the boxes on that one. Correct me if I'm wrong. I leave that up to the fans' interpretation. But for me as a fan, when I listen to the record, I'm like, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, well, I thoroughly enjoyed it as well too. Doug, just that old school, just that hip hop, that old school hip hop vibe to it as well too. And just I'll bring this up in my track reviews, if you will, right? That just that DJ Premier vibe to it as well too, especially with the scratching. Like you just outdid yourself with those scratches. And something that I
Thank
always do,
you.
right? Especially with primo cuts, right? I always like to like take note of each sample, like where's that song from? Where's that song from? Where's that from? I just kind of do that mentally every time it comes in, but I'm still like, vibing to the beat and the drums and all that kind of stuff. But when it comes to the hook, when it comes to the hook, sorry, I'm always like, oh, yeah, I know this, or I swear I heard this somewhere. You know what I mean? I just love to do that, and you just brought that out, basically with this album here, Merky Waters.
That's dope, man. That's dope. I'm glad that you feel that way. That's dope.
Yeah. So basically this is gonna be like my review one time, but in the process I'm gonna be asking you, just a creative process, like what, how this came about, and whatnot, right? So track by track, right? So, intro, I picked up on, just the samples that you use, Tribe Called Quest, Keep It Rolling, featuring Large Professor, Wu-Tang, Wu-Tang, to fuck with basically. And I just love just it's just that head nodding, screw your face up like, you know what I mean? That boom bap beat that you brought there, right? And just let you guys know to be, just the mere fact that you cited, two of my favorite albums of all time, that would be Midnight Marauders and Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers. Like I just have those two up here like this. Those are my top favorites, right? And you reference those in an intro, right? I don't know. I love that. Thank you so much for doing that, right? Thank you so much, right? Les
No
Zeppo,
problem.
like, yeah. I just like how he comes in on this beat here, you know, that just that opening bar where he says, I just read it off of here, right? Strange days, dazed, Lucas remains caged, the mainstay that got the haze all in your brain weaves. You know, it's like one of those things like it just kind of hits you like, what? But then when you listen to it again, it's like, okay, just don't think about it too much, man. It's just how dope it sounds. It's just the intricate wordplay here. You're not supposed to take it seriously, guys. It's a rap song. You know, just vibe to it and nod your head and smash it, right? Just have fun, right? But yeah,
Yeah,
as far as an intro, this was a hell of a great way to kick things off. But just want to hear from you now. Just that beat, like how do you come about with that beat? You don't have to go all in depth, but just like this beat,
I
like
remember.
how it
Well, I
happened.
remember like when we were doing the Guillotine 16 records or videos rather. I made that beat around that time for like if you. I don't know if it's still up, but there was like a Guillotine Shark promo video that I had where the letters were up and you just see a shark kind of floating through and the names would pop up and that beat was running and
Okay.
all the lines that I scratched were in there, but they weren't scratched; they were just placed. So when I was like, you know what, man, we need to turn that intro into like an official Guillotine Shark intro, and you do a verse, and I'll take all those lines and I'll scratch them. And there was a verse that we had left over from like a song that was on the cutting room floor, and I was like, yo, try that verse on this beat, and he did, and I was like,
Oh,
that's
okay.
perfect
Hmm.
because it's so random, like, and you're basically like Cool Keith, so you need to
Yes,
just be
yes,
random.
yes.
Why
Hmm.
don't do an intro where you're like, yo, it's Guillotine Shark, Shy the BeatYoda on the this and the that. Don't be so literal. Like, just do a random thing and prep people for a really random fun album.
Yeah,
And that's why it works so well, right? Because it's not really rapping about anything, but it gives you
exactly.
it lets you know exactly what you're in for.
Yeah, yeah, very MF Doom esque as well too, right?
Absolutely.
Very very much, right? Next track, Big Boss. I just love like how the intro just kind of has you thinking that it's gonna be some sort of like action movie oriented stuff. You hear like these military calls, like okay, let's go in. You know what I mean? Like, just you swear like you're watching some war film, or like in the case like when we go to the actual chorus, you hear Guns of the Patriots. I was thinking, oh, is this like a Metal Slug? Sorry, Metal Gear Solid 4 reference?
That's
perhaps,
what
perhaps.
the
Yeah.
Metal Gear is, the influence for the whole
Mhm.
thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just that radio, chatter basically, right? But then, you just hit me with this chilly sort of melodramatic beat, right? And it always like for me every time I hear it, it always reminds me of like the sort of a theme song that to some hitman or some assassin flick, right? Like this is just the mindset that this guy is in. It's just a job, what I mean? It's just nothing personal, just business. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
has that coolness to it, and I just love this beat in particular, man. And of course, Zeppo just comes in and just does his damn thing, man. But that's that beat alone for Big Boss. Like was that the mindset that you were in, that you wanted to be somewhat like cinematic?
That was all him, man. Like he brought me the sample and was like there's still another one that I got to flip for him too, but like he brought me a couple samples one day. He was like, "Yo, I want you to flip these for me." And when I did that one up, like he was just like and I wasn't there were still things that I wanted to do with the beat at the time, but he was bugging me like, are you gonna send me the beat, I want to do it, I want to do it. I swear he's never written a song faster, and when he
Wow.
came through and recorded it, I swear that like I don't even know if there was more than one take. He went in, ran it, like he's amazing in the studio anyways. Like this
Hmm.
guy will just like he just zips through verses. Like
it,
when
it,
he
and it
goes and he
sounds
does
so
a
it
second
sounds so
take, it's
every time
just
he
because
talks.
it's something in his head that makes him think he needs to do it again, because he's always flawless, like to
Yeah.
me, always flawless.
Yeah,
And
it always sounds so every time I hear him on each track. It always sounds like no, he just kind of just zipped through it, as you said. You know what I mean? He didn't like it was like he was sitting down for hours and just putting this together. It's just like boom, just do it.
I know
It
it's
sounds good.
effortless,
Let's
man.
move on.
Absolutely, he's just effortless behind the microphone. It's amazing to watch, and it's amazing to be a part of. But yeah, that song came together fast. He whipped it together fast, and then he had like a list of all the military terms that he had
Yes.
written down a bunch of them, and he was just like, okay, I'm just gonna go try something. And then he got
Snake
behind the mic.
Eater.
And he
I,
started
I I
writing
always crack up with that Snake
slick
Eater line.
sleeve, Moonbeam, and he was doing all that, and then of course I was like, yo, I got to put the radio effect on the voice and everything. Like it was only right to do that, right? Yeah, that's one of my, that's like probably my favorite song on the whole record. Like when that had to be like right off the bat. I'm like, yo, right after the intro, we need to go and just come right in with that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Up next we have Soul Survivor. This was my introduction to, this duo here. Shout out to E for actually introducing me to this. Like he actually like sent it to me in an Instagram chat, right? And just off that video concept alone, like I was watching, like, oh yeah, that's Squid Game, right? Yeah, that one moment where that one cop guy was, fleeing, when he left the island and he came back on shore, and his goons who were on, that Squid Game thing would chase them down, and I don't want to spoil anything beyond that, right? But I just love how dark and moody that beat is, right? And then E's hook as well too kind of matches as well, right? It's very poetic, right? It's not, it just sounds really dark, right? Like when you really dive into the lyrics. I really dug that, right? And just what Zeppo did, you know what I mean? I just love how he just makes these random movie references. So he mentions Ganja and Hess, he says Force Command, Mike Saban, Cloak. I guess I gotta retire some more replicants, if you're a Blade Runner fan, right? But yeah, it's just how it all fits together. Sorry, it's just how it all fits together now, and just it just sets in this sort of like mood every time I hear it. And I think it's largely in part to those piano keys. So just something about them, just they sound chilling. They really sound chilling when you hear them. But yeah, this was another solid cut on this album here. But yeah, the beat for Soul Survivor.
That's actually a remix. Like if you
Oh,
can believe it, that song is actually the third version of trying to get that song right. Like he had recorded it, and we were kind of iffy about the beat, so I swapped it for another one, and we lived with that version for however long, and then I was like, nah, come on, I'm gonna take one more stab at it, and then I did this one, and everybody unanimously was like, that's the one. But it's actually, that version is actually a remix. So
oh.
and then when I heard the hook, I was like, yo, we can get Smitty to kill this.
Mhm.
And of course he did the numbers on it, and now it is what it is. But like I definitely have two rough demo versions that I could pull out, and we could put out there for the people to be like, yo, wait, what?
Yeah, I really
We'll
think you
do.
should do that. Like maybe as a bonus track, like an extra bonus track. I know there's two in this that I'm gonna mention, by the way. That's only available on Bandcamp, right? Or is it
Yeah.
available someplace else? Only on
Yeah,
Bandcamp.
the
Right.
the deluxe remaster with the two bonus tracks is only available on our Bandcamp page. Yeah.
Okay. 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 All right. So up next we have Devil Shark. This one in particular, you could tell me if I'm wrong here. Um, has this sort of like progressive rock kind of vibe to it just sounds like something from the 60s or 70s, something very weird and psychedelic, just those guitars with some bongos, I think, and just those keyboards as well too, right? Zeppo here, what I mean, just like before, he just like, lyrically he just sounds very esoteric here. I wonder if it's just if the beat itself kind of puts him in a mood, so he just kind of just goes in and just says what he wants to say and just move on. Like case in point, his closing line, travel light years, face covered in nightmares. Like
I've
I,
never
I
really
wouldn't
sat
have
and
even
picked his
thought
brain
about that
about his
line.
process. Like I should do that. I should ask him. You know what? Next time that we talk, I'll get it. I'll have an answer for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. 'Cause it feels like the beat is more or less, you know, lulling him in a sense, like, all right, this is the mood, this is what I'm going at, all right, cool. And he just sticks with it, like lyrically, even if it doesn't like logically make sense, but that's not the point. It's really just how it all sounds, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I feel it's just what you do behind the boards that kind of puts him in that mood, and he just spits these lines. Yeah.
Yeah, we have an amazing chemistry together, man. Like I feel like he just gets my production. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely a sound that like when we go in, our sound is very different from when me and Details go in, and when me and Smitty go in. He just, he gets certain things, and so I love like watching him bring these tracks to life in the way that only he can. I can't remember if we have a video for Devil Shark. Let's
No, we have, well, okay, I could be wrong, but there is one for Guillotine Shark, which follows next, actually.
I should, you know what?
Yeah.
No, I have a video for Devil Shark. Maybe I'll
Oh,
release it. Maybe we should just drop that this week. We should just be like, you know what, man?
please.
It's just sitting on the
Please.
computer. It's just sitting on the computer. We should just drop it. He's walking around with a mask on. Yeah, it's kind of wild,
Hmm.
it was the first video that we did that I can remember, and he was like, so like he even looks different. He doesn't have the beard. Um, yeah. Maybe we'll drop
Yeah,
that.
I say
But
drop it. I don't think anybody's going to question the lack of beard, right? I don't know.
yeah, word up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were. I know when I was making that beat, I was going for like kind of like the Griselda Alchemist, like minimalist vibe by
Oh,
not
yeah,
really
yeah,
adding
yeah.
too much in the way of percussion and just keeping the letting the sample kind of do the talking. Like I think I might have like 808s for kicks or just kept it really simple. And yeah. Oh, that's a remix too.
Look at that,
Should
right?
I be saying all? Should I be saying all this? Is this
Out of the bag,
whatever,
the,
man?
the, the world needs to know. The
You're
world
getting
needs
the
to
exclusives, man.
know.
You're getting the exclusives. I love remixing shit, man. I absolutely love it. I love like having access to vocals and being able to like load it up in the machine and tinker with stuff. It's just like it just lets me know that like nothing is final until we put it out. You know what I mean? If I want
Hmm.
to swap things out and do this and that, like I can do that. I have the freedom to do that. So I exercise that freedom and I have a lot of fun with it, man. And you know, yeah, that's how that song came about. We'll put out an original version of that too.
Yeah, sure. Looking forward to it. So up next, Guillotine Shark, right? Yeah. So music video, dope, funny as hell. It's something that maybe I should try one day. But whatever, right? But this one in particular, this beat is very DJ Premier esque. It's something about just like how those what should I say, just those instruments, the instrument itself, like the strings and the wind instrument, basically how they all chopped up. It's very premier, it's very primo, sorry. Just that boom bap beat itself, it works. Beat is grimy as well too. I just love how Zeppo attacks it, right? And of course the hook itself knocks, we just all those scratches, and just me like, okay, I know this one, Brooklyn Zoo, right? I know this one, right? So that's just me every time I hear it, right? But I have to bring up your verse, right? And yeah, how you just literally shut shit down. You shut the whole song down, like with that final verse here, man. And that last line, when my pen hits the paper, Daddy Kane will go, oh shit.
My man,
I
my
mean,
man.
I
Thank
mean,
you,
yo,
thank you.
yo, what is that? What is that? What is that? What is that? Right? Hell of a great way to end that song off by. My God, right? But
Thank you,
yeah,
dude.
I imagine this was a blast for you to to produce, to rap over, and to do the music with as well. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, we had
Guilty
all
Chat,
kinds of
talk.
fun with that, man. Like that the beat started out as I think it was when Marco was working on Pad Thai 4, which is one of his drum kits. Usually anytime he makes one, he's like, "Okay, take the kit and make a beat with it and let's see how well you're able to like assemble the sound, the like some of the sounds that I have." So every element of that beat can be found in Marco Polo's drum kit, Pad Thai 4.
Right.
The strings that I chopped, the piano keys, like everything is part of that kit. Um, so I remember I posted that beat with I think the acapella for Gangstar, just to get a rep. So I had posted it as
Oh,
a
okay.
remix, and then I went in. I was like, this beat is so primo. I think I'm gonna do a track, and I'm gonna call it "Ode to the Goat." And it was actually gonna be a solo track from me, as a dedication to Premiere. And I have a version of the beat where in the hook I flip the hook comes in and the beat changes to four different beats. I've redid DITC thick,
Okay.
um, Biggie kicking the door,
Mhm.
not Royce boom, and Nas is like.
All right.
So
I'm picking up on the connection here, right? Just that, yeah,
yeah.
just that.
So
Huh.
I did that, but then Zepp heard me playing the beat and was just like, "Yo, that's mine. That's mine. That's mine. That's mine." I'm like, "Oh, I can't argue with that. If he
Yeah.
wants it, it's his."
Right.
So when he dropped his two verses on it, he was like, "Yo, you got to do it. You got to jump on this thing, man." I'm like,
Oh, okay. So he wanted you on. I thought that
"Yeah." He asked me to jump
purposefully
on the
wanted to be
track.
on it. Okay.
Yeah, he asked me, and I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm going in, man. I'll do it." And then yeah, I had fun with that verse too, man. Like, just you come after him, it's like, what are you supposed to do? You know, like down the line, you'll hear, especially with the Rebel Embassy records, being around these guys has pushed me to some levels that I haven't been pushed to in a while. You know, like that record, I'm kind of chill. I'm in the cut. I'm still the lines are there. You hear this Rebel Embassy stuff. It's like, yo, these guys like pushed me over the top. Like yo, you got to go win, shot. You got to go
Yeah.
win. Bring out the beast. You know, the like being surrounded by these lyrical animals. It's like you can only get better.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
well, rap groups tend to do that, right? Like a Wu Tang or a Black Moon, right? They always kind of push you to just, go forward, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. All right. So up next we have Power Limiters, right? And for me, I just love how this beat just starts off with these sort of like elegant organs, basically, and then the drums just kind of come in like, yo, this is not gonna be any elegant lavish shit. This is gonna be like just straight griminess, right? Even right down to incorporating Ghostface Killer's line from Wu-Tang Seven Chamber, right? I'm raw, I'm rugged and raw, I repeat, right? Which sounds awesome over this beat. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Right. And of course, just Zeppo just doing a lot, right? I just want to bring up one line, right? Where he says, it's all these sipping tea with Wong Fei. I'm there like Wong Fei Hong, right? Jet Li, who played Wong Fei Hong in like numerous films, right? But also played this is just me being film nerdy here, right? Ho Yun Ja, right? In Fearless, right? That's his last authentic martial arts flick, right? And if you remember, if you've seen it, you absolutely should. It's a great movie, right? So there's a climactic fight scene with him and this Japanese guy, right? But someone, I'm not gonna say who, actually poisons his tea, right? So in between that fight, he stops, he sips the tea, and then it affects him, and then he eventually loses and dies, right? So I don't think that Zeppo had that in mind, but just him seeing sipping tea with Wong Fei just went so deep for me. I was just like, holy shit, this is like a rabbit
Like if
hole.
you,
I just need to get out of it right now and just go into the beat.
it's
But yeah,
amazing how you
that's
get it. Like
crazy. That's
there's so
crazy.
many references that this guy has that I'm like, you know what? One day I need to just like sit down, break out the Guillotine album, go line for line, and go on Google because there's just so much stuff I don't. I'm like, what is this guy talking about?
I
But
know.
like, but they're
But
all
that's a dope
legit
line
movie
though.
references. Like, yeah, he's a genius, man. The way
Mm.
he puts his, yeah, the guy's. I can't say enough about him, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So up next we have Lock and Key. This is actually one of the more moodier cuts on this album here. Very melodramatic, I must say, especially with the pianos, and it's just the thoughtfulness involved. Like everybody kind of just comes in and just in their own zone, basically, right? Just kind of like spitting whatever it is that's on your mind, right? And I would like, for me, I know that like you have to be like, how to say, you have to just be on top of your game to just pull this off, because people could just kind of come in and just spit some random shit and it sounds weird and just like, well, what's the point of that, right? But these guys, that would be Gideon Knight and Night Uno, right? First time I'm hearing about them. I'm glad that they're actually part of this collaborative album you guys have in store for us, right? Yeah, they just go in, and it sounds so profound, what they're talking about. And then of course with Liz Zeppo, closing the song off as well, right? Just me just picking out lines, right? So my favorite line in this is, refuse to give me my flowers. I plan a seed in your mean squeeze a couple of hours before the plane leaves.
Nine through no.
Night
Yeah.
Udo. Night Udo. Shout out to Night Udo. Do your thing, man. But yeah, how just this beat in particular, like was this like just a beat you just had, just there collecting dust, or you just had it in mind like, okay, I just want these guys to just rap like this over, my
Yo,
production?
that beat did not sit on the floor for long, man. Like I knocked it out. I played it for the guys. They're all like, "Yo, this is crazy." It was originally supposed to be on the Rebel Embassy album, and then Zepp stole it because he wanted everybody in the crew on on the Guillotine album. So I was like, well, there's one way to get at least two members is if you just hijack that song from the Rebel album. And he's like, okay, yeah, cool, that's mine. And it was G Knight's idea because if you hear like there's a beat change up, right? There's a string part that comes in,
Mm.
and that's meant to be a hook. But when G Knight got a hold of the beat, he just rapped his way through the verse and kept going through the hook. And I was like,
Right. Okay.
okay,
Okay. Okay.
so
Yeah.
now do I add like an extra however many bars? And he's like, you know what? Everybody should do what I did. Everybody should rap the verse and then rap through the hook. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll tell them. And then, and then it just, and then it worked out, right? It's just something different. Like,
Mm.
you would think that it was going to be that, that structure of, okay, there's the hook. There's supposed to be a hook, but there's no hook. They just rap through the hook. And they all kind of just followed Gideon's lead. Like he did his thing. Ninth and Zepp kind of looked at what he did and was like, okay, well, we just gotta, just gotta vibe out, do what the beat tells us to do. I was very much in like a tribe sort of zone, like a tribe de la kind of zone, because if you can tell that it's not like a 4 bar loop, it's more like I think it's like 3.
Mm.
And yeah, the hook is 4, but the verse is 3.
Right.
And just gives you that stakes is high, lyrics to go kind of vibe. You know what I
Uh,
mean?
love those songs, by the way. Yeah.
Classics,
Mm.
classics. Yeah, man, we wear our influences on our sleeves, man. Like, we're not trying to hide who we are. Like,
No,
we're hip
no,
hop, we're hip
no.
hop,
Yeah.
we're hip hop fans turned participants.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of necessary to do that anyway. You know what I mean? So at least people know
Absolutely.
where you guys come from, right?
Yes,
Right. So
sir.
up next we have Blindsided. This for me has one of my favorite hooks on the album for sure. I just love like just the idea of it, especially that hook where he's like basically talking about like just attacking his fools when they least expect it. Like I just love that vibe now. Like when they drop the guard, I'm gonna hit you, right? Um, Beat wise, it has a rather like sinister vibe to it, very sneaky, almost like mischievous in a sense. That's why I picked up on. Almost as if like, something nefarious is taking place, right? Some
Yeah,
crime or whatever,
like
right?
some
Like,
Pink Panther spy
yes,
versus spy
that,
kind of like, yeah.
yeah, I love that, right? Um, Again, Les Zeppo, these bars, right? The Iron Fist, ninth circle of the fire pit, escape the negative zone on the back of an Alice.
Man, you gotta let me know when you drop this podcast video, man. I gotta show Zepp. This is just gonna make him sit here and be like, "This is the greatest thing ever." Like hearing all of his stuff quoted like this is beautiful, man.
Yeah, yeah. No, I always do that. Like it's just easy to just listen to music and I like this rhyme, I like this rhyme, but to just really sit down and type it out and then read it like 10 times and be like, huh,
Yeah,
thought process. Like, what was the thought process in that? And coming up with a line like that, I don't know, right? But yeah, that beat for blindsided, right? Well, how do you come about with it?
I think when I heard this, I think there's always a part of me that says, "What would Knots do?" Like when I think about like drum programming and bass lines, like I'll never master what it is that he does. He's an alien. He's not of this earth. But I'm always like very, very much like a what would Kev Brown do, what would Knots do, what would Preem and Pete Rock do kind of guy. When I'm trying to wrap my head around when I hear a sample, I'm like, what's the vibe? Where does this need to go? Um, and I was definitely in like a Knots slash DJ Scratch kind of zone. Maybe not so much with the drums, but definitely with how the bass line is rocking with the sample. But then I want when you bring in the when I brought in the keys in the hook, it was like, yo, this is kind of like that Marco Polo contrast. Like he very much loves to do these. Like the beat is rugged, but then like 4 bars later, I'm gonna bring in these nice lush keys and totally
Mm,
throw you off and be like, well, this is the vibe. Nope, now we go back to the raw vibe, and now we go back to this again. So I was kind of took influence from Marco and how he structures things. And
okay.
that song is actually one of mine and Zepp's oldest songs. Like
Oh,
that song has been sitting around forever, just waiting for the right homes. And I think at the last minute, I changed the drums. So for like 90% of the time that we lived with that song before it dropped, it had completely different drums. And then at the last moment, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna change these drums up. And now I'm like, oh, this, yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
love that song, love it.
yeah. So speaking of love, right? Too Messy. I love this song. I love it, right? I just love how strange this beat sounds. It's spacey, it's spooky, especially those ghostly female vocals that show up, on the hook. I love those. And it just sounds like something you're just supposed to just spaz out to, you know what I mean? Just lie in your bed, just like you're just like zoned out basically, right? And even like Zeppo himself sounds like he's like he raps a little bit slower compared to like what he's done, prior, right? And it's almost like he's under the spell, like you've cast a spell on him and he's just rapping like this, right? But I just love like on the second verse where he says, waiting for when the meds kick in, shark swinging the feet of flying guillotine, leave you with your head missing, right? So just that notion alone that I love about it too, like, yeah, he's in a zone, but he's dangerous as well too. He could snap at any given time, right? So I love that, right? And
Yeah, it's like that's like the
yeah,
Guillotine Shark mantra, man. That's
yeah,
like that's
yeah,
like that just gives you like right those two lines right there. That's who we are, you know? I
exactly. And
love
then
that.
yeah, then he has lines like dance with the devil. Then we meet for dinner date. He says it in first verse. It's it just sounds so weird, but it totally works given just that vibe of the beat, right? But just how do you come up with Too Messy? Just that vibe of Too Messy.
I mean, I was definitely when I made that beat was in my Griselda bag. Like a lot of like if you haven't yet, you should check out the album The Shelter. The album's called Opus, and that's me and Ninth Uno. And that
All
album
right.
we did like that it predates all the stuff that I'm doing now. It was like a year before the we'd started doing Soul Powers and Guillotine and all this stuff. Yeah, I think you'd really like that record, especially if you like Ninth's verse on Lock and Key.
Right.
You're gonna really love the stuff that he does on there. Lots of scratch hooks, like all the stuff you love it's all on there, man. But that beat was definitely made shortly after doing that because we were definitely shooting for like not the Griselda sound, but a lot of cats at the time were digging into those Italian horror movie samples and stuff like that. So I was like,
Ah,
yo,
yeah.
Ninth specifically wanted to like get in that zone. That's what was inspiring him at the time. So I was like, okay, let me dig for those kinds of samples. And that was one of those beats that was made in that era, but kind of just wound up like sitting around waiting for the right guy. So when I played it for I think it was actually meant to be a Guillotine 16. It was on the list of beats that we were going to use for that video series, but then we stopped doing those videos and it just wound up like sitting there. And I was like, yo, you got to do this song, man. Like this has got to happen now. Like let's go.
Right.
And as usual, guy just knocks it out like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And
The
speaking of which, that music video is dope. I love it.
videos out there, man.
Yeah.
I was that was a hard one to do, man, because like there was no plan. Like Zepp knew a guy who had a facility that was filled with a whole bunch of retro stuff. So we were really just going there to scout the location. But
Right.
I brought my homie Tommy along, and we brought our cameras, and it's like just in case we get the opportunity, let's just be ready. So we walked in, and he was like, "Yeah, go ahead, do your thing." So we just started filming anything that we could. And then when I went home and I'm looking at the footage, I'm like, man, that was so random. I don't even know what to do with any of this. Like, I don't know how to assemble this video. This thing is crazy. I don't know what to do. And then my homie Fear, who I mentioned before, he had lived in Colorado for like 15 years and just recently moved back home to Ontario. And he came over to my crib and saw the video and was like, I know how to finish that video. I was like, this is beautiful because I don't. So we spent the night and he just sat and we watched the raw footage and he's like, take that and do that. And if you can do that, I'm like, that's impossible. He's like, no, it's not impossible. I've seen you do the impossible. Go do it. And so I'd spend hours, but I'd got it. Like, he was like, was it get the robot into that globe and have the globe, when it pans, you have the robot moving and then have it.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And then we did it. And then he's like, put Zeppo in that TV. I'm like, just do it. And I did it. That's why I listen to that guy. He's the ultimate ideas guy. If he says it can be done, I do it.
Nice, nice, nice.
So yeah, and then we wound up finishing the video, and yeah, it's doing well, man. That
Yeah,
video
yeah,
and the
yeah.
Guillotine Shark video, the numbers on that thing like still
Mm,
blow me away, man. I love that people are loving it like that. It just goes to show you can still inject fun into this thing. It doesn't all have to be guns, drugs, this and that. You know what
of
I mean? You
course, yeah,
can
yeah.
you can have Shark Max and jump into a pool and swim around as sharks and still spit bars and be vicious with it and be taken seriously. I love that.
Yeah, because why not, right?
Right.
So final track is called Shark Tales, right? Because of course, with an album, featuring a group called Guillotine Shark, you must have a song called Shark Tales, right?
And it
Sorry
just
about that.
happens to feature a guy named Tails.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's just when I read it. Oh, details, details, duh. Right.
Yep.
Um, this is a straight up banger. Oh my god. There's no way you can listen to this and like not pop your head to it, right? I love how fierce and menacing it is. Just throw this out here as a compliment. It reminds me of like the kind of stuff that demigods or the pharaohs would rap over. Like they just love that aggressive, just punch somebody kind of music, and that always reminds me of that every time I hear the song, right? And I just love how you just stuck in all these little samples. The points for adding a little bit of Primo's beat for Unbelievable, which agree to disagree. Best song off of Ready to Die. It's my opinion.
Undeniable. Undeniable.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
with you on that 1,000%.
great, great, great. And again, the Zeppo movie references, right? Well, check one, two, three, like the Pelham cuts on the wings from the heaven that he fell from.
The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, man. Yeah. The
One, two,
original though,
three,
the
check one.
original Walter Matthau original.
I know. Check that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Denzel Washington, Tony Scott one was okay, but I mean, check one, two, three, like the Pelham. Jeez.
Crazy.
But
Right off
yeah,
the
I
bat.
know, I know, I know. Right? And even though the hook, force works all the cantinas. Like there's something about there's something about that line. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, again, the references, right? But details though, he just crushed it at his verse. I love how he sticks with that shark team shot. I love how he says, been in that water, I'm a shark that eats, so keep these clownfish Nemo ass far from me. I just love that. That's how he rhymes over that though. I just love. So hell of a way to end, the standard edition of this album here. But yeah, Shark Tales. This probably was a fun track to make, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I originally did with that beat, I was using it as a remix for a song that I have with Rock Marciano called Grown Ups. And it was just kind of sitting around. And when if Zepp's in the vicinity and he hears something that he likes and he says he wants it, that like I just there's no saying no to that guy. You know what I mean? Because you know what's gonna happen. Instant classic. So it's not going to anybody else. Take it, do it. But then we played it for details, and he was like, "Oh, I'm jumping on that." And it's like, he didn't basically bullied his way onto the song and didn't give anybody a choice. But I mean, when you hear his verse and what he like, I was supposed to jump on that too, on a third verse, but I was like, nah. There's two verses. It's just perfect. I'll do scratches and we'll call it a day. This is perfect.
All
And
right.
yeah, it's almost a unanimous favorite amongst boom bap heads.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
yeah, it's a raw joint.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it, right? So just gonna run through just the last two bonus tracks. Well, the two bonus tracks, sorry, quickly, right? So we have Tree Ronin, right? Featuring E Smitty, of course. I love how hazy, your beat sounds. It just has this slightly tense vibe about like, something's gonna happen, you're not too sure what's gonna happen, right? It just kind of has you on edge, right? Lizeppo again with these opening bars. And for the brave, I keep the mic dipped in mistletoe. Division Road, they try to sandbass the whistle blow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds dope EF, right? I
I
just
don't
love it. I
either.
love it. I love it. I love it. Right. But I have to talk about E, man. I have to talk about what Smithy did here. I mean, he surprised me, right? Because like I haven't really heard a lot of his rapping, right? But yeah, we're rapping wise here. wow, he just came through with a solid verse too. I just love how cocky he sounded, very braggadocious he was. My Fuji in this bitch, you a hill of beans. Wow, go some Marvin Gaye done in a modern way. Okay, but the last lines is really what caught me though. With I'ma stay nice on this mic, mad intentionally. Oh yeah, I'm hung already, so there's no thoughts of lynching me.
Dangerous, dangerous
Well done,
line.
E. Well done, well done. I love it, I love it, I love it. Right. And of course, you have to talk about you. I mean, you ain't dope. No, you ain't dope. If you see me coming your way, you better Usain Bolt, thinking you're gonna see a new day. Nope. Y'all snapped on this. Y'all snapped on this track. Not much more I could say, right? But Tree Ronin, and also well, okay, so yeah, just the process behind Tree Ronin, and then also why does I should say become a bonus track? Like why wasn't this part of the original album?
Well, we that song is like as new gets. Like we when Smitty came down here and we were filming all the videos and stuff, we did that song like basically on the spot. Like I had me and Zep were talking about, okay, what are we going to use for these two bonus cuts, because we knew we wanted to do the Bandcamp bonus version, but we hadn't chosen the two songs that we were going to include. So we looked through like a few things that we had that were like roughly worked. We had that beat I had originally given sent to the Rebel Embassy crew for them to pick it, and Zepp was like, "No, I'm taking that. That's mine." And he dropped his verse on it, so it was kind of just sitting there with one verse. And he was like, "Yo, you need to play that for Smitty. See if he can record that while he's down." So I played it for him, and he started writing. And like within like I swear it was like 15 minutes, and he read me the verse. I was
Wow.
like, just go record it, go record it. And so he just went down the hall from the room, and then just went like zipped through the verse. So now we got his verse, and it was basically just going to be the two of them. But Zepp was like, "No, dude, I originally wanted you to do a verse on there. I still want you to do a verse on there. I don't care if it's three verses. You got to go in." So yeah, then and that was basically the start of the streak that I'm on right now, because I've been writing more now than I have been in years, and it was really that
Nice.
song that
Yeah.
kind of helped jump it off, because like penning that verse came so easily. After that I was like, okay, you know what, I got a feature that I need to do. I went over here and I'll do this. Okay, I did that. Oh wow, okay, those two came together. Let me try to pen a few solo songs or whatever, and those came together fast, and now I'm working on a solo album. And yeah, so there's yeah, that song
Yeah.
basically sparked like
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
getting back on my MC shit for real. But it's a new song, and that's really why it didn't wind up on the official thing, because we made it after the album was released.
Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming that's the same thing for Wise Blood, right? Which is the second and final bonus track, right?
No, that song
Oh
was just
no?
sitting around, and
Oh,
it had no hook for a long time, because we were kind of like back and forth about, you need to do a written hook. No, you need to do a scratch hook. Okay, well, we'll just sit and wait until something manifests itself. And I was just like, you know what, man, I'm sick of this song just sitting on the computer when it's not finished. I'll do cuts, fine. And then I found the lines and whipped that together. He was like, yep, that's a go. That's the next bonus. And
yeah.
but that's again, that song is definitely like that, blindsided, all from the same era, like early in the recording stages, like songs that needed to come out. So I'm glad that that's like out there now.
Right, right, right. Also, just points for doing your cuts on the hook. I picked up on Black Moon's how many MCs, I believe it is, right? Yeah.
The
Love that, right?
incredible.
But I just love in particular, just out of everything though, just those drums though. They have this texture to it. It has a live sound to it in particular. And it just makes everything sound a little bit jazzier, I mean, compared to like what you've done before, either with drum wise, right? Um the Zeppo again. Last quote I'm gonna make with the Zeppo, right? What he says here, boy. Just finished off the first, sorry. The speech cobra with the weed odor, spit flame heat thrower, part one with the beat Yoda. Back on the case for regular salary, mask on my face, Umbrella Academy. Not much
Guy's a
more I could say, right?
genius. He's a genius. End of story.
He is, man. And so just giving my overall thoughts on this project here. I dug the hell out of this, man. I did not expect for it to go This hard. I didn't expect it to go this old school. I didn't expect it to be this boom bappy as well too. I'm a sucker for boom bap hip hop as well, right? And instrumentals, of course, right? But yeah, I mean, not just Zeppo did his thing, but you did your thing as well, man. And just the features as well, just the cuts themselves, and of course, just that crazy concept of just these two hip hop loving sharks, and y'all just ruled that very well with those skits. Wow, I get this those skits all day. Maybe I don't know, maybe it might be some deleted scenes or whatever where you hear like this whole hour long conversation about I got like bones stuck in my teeth or some like that, right? I would just love to hear that, right? But yeah,
I
man,
got you. I
I
got
love
you.
that
Trust me,
project.
man. I'll show you some stuff.
Yeah,
Believe
yeah.
it.
But yeah, man, you and Lizeppo, y'all did your damn thing. I really, really dug this album. So if I could rate it, just out of 10, 8.5 out of 10, man. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Dope.
But if I could just ask just a couple more questions before we wrap up here. Will we see any more? Will there be a follow-up to Merky Waters? Or
Guaranteed.
you can't say right now?
Guaranteed.
All right. All right.
We have to.
Yes, and we have to hear more
We
of you.
absolutely have to. We
Yeah.
have to. That's definitely in the pipeline. Rebel Embassy album will be coming first, and that's all six of us. That album is done, so it's just a mix and a master and one video away from being released. So like that could happen next month. We've already got a song called Yellow Bus that Preem has been playing. Preem has played a few times on his show in rough,
All right.
unmixed form. Um, yeah, so that'll be first. I'm going to be doing a series of singles, and this is like my first time saying this to anyone. I haven't broken the news online yet. I'm going to be releasing a series of maxi singles starting in the next couple weeks. The first single is going to be from Details, and I'm going to be resurrecting the maxi single on the digital side of things. So you're going to get like dirty, clean, instrumental, a cappella. B side could be a completely different song with the
All
same
right.
four, or it could be a remix with like if the vocals are the same, then I'll do dirty, clean instrumental, and I'll throw a bonus track at the end. But basically, it'll be like on Bandcamp, you'll be able to go and purchase the DJ pack, which will have all versions. But on through Spotify and all your streaming platforms, you'll get the just the three songs. So you'll get the original, the remix, and if there's a bonus, you'll get that. But for the instrumentals, the clean versions, the acapellas, the whole shebang, you got to go to the Bandcamp page and purchase it there. But we're gonna be dropping those once every 2 weeks. So
Nice.
you're going to get an onslaught of Beat Yoda music for the foreseeable future.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna, just keep my eyes and ears to Instagram, so just look it out for any upcoming posts, me related to that. And yeah, I'm on board, man. I can't wait to hear what have cooking for us, or have already, cooked and just lead out to the table first, man.
It's coming, man. It's coming. Just look out in the next coming weeks. You'll definitely be seeing me posting about it on socials. And yeah, we got stuff coming. We got some stuff coming.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So last question. Okay. So again, this is like my second time doing this, right? But I'm just like amazed at just this output that you're doing, especially during these times here, the pandemic era, and just all that BS going on, in Europe right now, which is unfortunate, yes. But at the same time, you have a wife, you have a kid, you know what I mean, and you're just doing all these things now. So not to sound corny or whatnot, right? But just to the world out there who may be kind of wondering, okay, is this music thing worth it? Is this creative thing worth it? Should I just stick to 9 to 5, or put that to the side or whatnot, right? If you have this just a little, like words of encouragement, or just like a message to just tell the world, what I mean, in terms of just being creative and just following your passion, like what would they be?
Well, look at what can be done if you stick with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at what
Mm.
can be done in the amount of in the like. I took the pandemic by I took the opportunity by the balls, man. I was like, like we were doing the Soul Powers album right in the thick of it. Where like businesses were shut down, weren't allowed to go anywhere. I was locked down in the studio, couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. So we were like, you know what? Let's do skits and interludes for a whole week. You know, like just like just take your opportunity, man. You could like now's the time. Like now is the time. Like people need something, you know? Like so if you've got inspirational music within you, give it because that appreciate look at me sitting here with you. Like if we hadn't pushed through everything that we were doing to stay doing this music, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation,
That's right. Yeah.
you know? And yeah, sure, it's not the biggest, it's not a big blockbuster, like commercial hit, but like who cares, man? Like the
Yeah.
amount of
Yeah.
people, the way that we moved people with that record is something that like I've been striving for my whole career, to do something this memorable and this meaningful. And we didn't, nothing was forced, nothing, like my man E Smitty would say, none of this was contrived. Like we made the music that we felt like making, and we put the body of work together that made sense based on like the times that we're in and what was needed. And like the takeaway for me is just it's beautiful. The people that I've met, meeting you, being able to sit here and have this conversation with you,
Yeah.
and to be
Yeah.
able to tell you how much I appreciate your words and your interest in the
Thank you.
album, and how much it means to you. That means everything to me. That means we did our job.
Mhm.
And yeah, ain't no stopping us now.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Definitely.
Ain't no stopping us now, man. Like we live this, we live and breathe this, and yeah, yeah, we're about to hit you with some stuff.
Nice. Nice. I can't wait to get hit. Right. Just smack me in the face right now. Right. Okay.
We're coming for everybody, man. Blows to the temple all over the place.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely. All
Trust
right,
me.
so Shy, the BeatYoda, thank you so much for coming through. This was an honor, just doing this, man. Just for
Likewise.
me, for where I'm at, just reaching out to international artists as I term them, right, and just learning so much, just all the stuff that you're telling me about, the creative process and just plans that you have in store with just musical rollout. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that fuels me, right? Yes, I'm into movies as well, but music as well too. That's also a primary passion of mine, man. And again, I'm just fortunate that this Fiverr thing actually worked, so I could actually meet people like you. So
That's what's up, man.
yeah, that's amazing, man. So again, just keep up the great work. I mean, I just can't wait for the fresh new music, coming out later on this year, hopefully, and onward. And just keep that hip hop flag, just raise high, man.
You already know, brother, and we'll be in touch. We'll be doing this again. If you need
Sure.
anything, you know where to find me. Holler at me. Thank you
Sure,
for
sure,
having me
sure.
on, man. Really appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. And in closing, you could just let our listeners and viewers know where people can find you and your music online.
You can find me everywhere at Shy the BeatYoda. It's the same handle on Instagram, on Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud, TikTok, like whatever, man. Like any streaming platform. My primary focus has always been on my Instagram account. So yeah, at Shy the BeatYoda, ShyTheBeatYoda, and yeah, holla at your boy. I'm here.
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I hope more people do, check out your work as well, right? Because
Oh,
yeah,
and
you're
please,
doing your
please,
damn
please
thing,
come and
man.
check
You're
out the
doing it.
Twitch show. Join me in the mornings at 8:15
Yes,
a.m.
yes,
Eastern
please.
time for the morning brew, and every Thursday at 10 p.m. for the nightcap. We have fun, man. Come and interact and talk to the kid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. All right.
And you got to
So
check out the nightcap, man. 10 o'clock on
yeah, yeah.
Thursday. Come
Well,
through,
like I didn't even know about that until you just mentioned it to me earlier on, right? But
no
yeah,
doubt.
I'm gonna definitely check that out, man. So again,
Beautiful.
Shy, thank you. Listeners, viewers, thank you for checking out this video here, listening to this interview here. I really hope to do more, throughout the year as well, just reach out to more artists that I've covered before. And, just in my own way, just shine a spotlight on you guys, just the amazing work that you guys are doing, man, especially during these rather like chaotic and unpredictable times here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So again, folks, take care. Until next one, peace.